So it's every parent's dream to get little Johnny into a little apartment, into a property, his first home. And it's a conversation we have all the time. We're going to teach you some tips and tricks on it. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
What a dream
Ah,
for all parents.
it really is. Hey, it
It really
really,
is.
really is. Mum and dad. So everyone, where I'm Mark Novak, Billy Drury, live show where we have we topics that we and we help people with those topics. And today is first home buyers because it's a huge conversation. We do so much sort of hard copy media, dealing with people at entry level of price ranges, speaking with parents, first home buyer nights. Now, Mr. Billy Drury, you've been in this situation. What do you got to teach people with first home
Well,
buyers?
I think this has got to be a dream for the first home buyer themselves, not mum and dad. Mum and dad's dream slowly shifts away from getting little Johnny his own apartment, to set himself up on his own 2 feet, to getting them out so they've got an extra room in the house. I think, which is funny, but it is a process that the whole family has to get behind. It's really hard to buy a property with absolutely no help, and I'm not talking about financial help, but I'm talking about the support, the team around the individual buying the first home, to make the dream come alive. That's the magic.
Now, why is it so not? Why is it so much on mum and dad's agenda and so much not on the first home buyers agenda with first home buyers? Now, I do have to say, I've instantly gone over to mum and dad and a 19 to 23-year-old. There's lots of other different types of first home buyers we're going to talk about, but why is it so hard on mum and dad's agenda and so not on little Johnny's agenda?
I think for any long-term homeowner, you get into a really good pattern of repayments, and it becomes normal. It's an everyday event. Talking with the bank and fixing the mortgage. People forget how sort of unnormal it is at the beginning. So I think for mum and dad, they just want the best for the kids, or they want the best for the family member. They just want to help, and I think it's the Australian dream to kind of get your own property. So they just want to sort of get you on your way.
And
If that
I also reckon it's been so successful for mum and dad. They've actually reaped the benefits. They've walked the walk, and they've thought, you know what, I would just love my kids to have these benefits and this as well. And when you're 18, 19, 20, you've got so much going on. It's sort of the last thing on your mind often is putting yourself under more pressure and more stress. It's hard at that age. You've got potentially university, you don't know what you're going to do for a job, you're leaving your cocoon of school, and then mum and dad are trying to force a property down your throat.
Yeah, it is a lot to take in. I think for a lot of young people, friends included, when I talk to them, they think you're crazy when you're committing to something as long as 30 years away. A 30-year mortgage on the piece of paper, and you kind of have to remind everyone that you're not actually tied in, for 30 years worth of repayments. It can change. It can be shortened. It can be tailored to your own sort of speed. And if you're not happy, you can always release the property after it's made a bit of money.
Why did
That's
you do it?
I had a bit of a personal sort of desire to try and get a home by the age of 18. It was a bit of a personal challenge. It was hard to put a sort of a single reason on why, but I think similar to what you said, I could see the success around me when it came to property, and it was just a really cool It's just a really cool thing to say. I did that by 18. So that was my personal goal.
So, oh, oh,
Ooh,
oh,
be careful.
um, careful. So, with the a mum and dad convincing their child, some of the stuff that I see is mum and dad will help with the deposit. So mum and dad will take out a 10% or 20% loan, and they will give that over to little Johnny, first home
Yeah,
buyer, and I'll say, here is the beginning of your journey of putting a deposit on a property and buying something. But I think the true ambition is really like the bottom line. I think if you can teach, it forces a really good discipline of saving for for something over your head. So it's different to saving for a car or saving for a holiday. I think it's a really good discipline that you want your kids to have with money, and you don't want them to waste their money. So the whole first home buyer thing becomes very, very important to parents. One, they've walked the walk and they've seen the benefits of property, and two, they want to get the kids into a really good pattern or into a really good beat. And it does happen. Now, I do find it's got both have to be as passionate about it. So what actually happens is when mum and dad are like go go go, and the kids are like no no no, it doesn't happen. But when the kids are like, yep, I get it, I want it, it flows heaps better, heaps better. What's Luke got to say?
I think I've lost all my visual, by the way, so I can't see you. I hope you can still see me.
Oh,
And
okay.
hear
It
me.
teaches. Luke says, Billy, if people think you're weird, you're the top 1%. He also says it teaches money habits, and forced savings is buying a property. Yeah, big
I think
time, big time.
that's the biggest reward I found personally. Is I feel like it's given me some structure. It's just like a really big phone bill that comes in once a month, but instead of a regular phone bill, you've got a bit of income helping you out this time. That's how
Absolutely.
it. That's how it is.
Now, can I just show everyone something which I find very, very interesting, and let me know, everyone, what you think of this. This is first home buyers nationally. Nationally, first home buyers. So what I find super interesting here is that at 20 years ago, 23 years ago, the average first home buyer was circa 25 years of age.
Yeah,
What I find interesting is 20 years later, the average first home buyer is 34 years of age. So I think that there is a huge change in what a first home buyer looks like. Um, what are these guys doing with those 10 years of their lives? I guess they're saving a deposit.
I think a variety of things. Saving a deposit, travel. That I'm sure there's a lot of different things. Moving jobs. I think a lot of people, find their feet in long term careers maybe later these days. You hear stories of people starting and finishing the same job. Back in the 80s and the 90s, much more than you do now. 50 years of service in the one role. So I think steady employment's obviously a big thing. People don't want to commit to something as big as a mortgage without kind of knowing where they want to be as well. But yeah, you're very much right, and I think it's a crucial 10 years. So if you can get the opportunity to jump in earlier, it doesn't stop you from living your life for 10 years. Trust me, but you'll certainly notice the growth in value if you can hold your property for that long.
And then also, I think university degrees is a big thing, and that's pretty much chomped up 3 or 4 years. I remember with my brother and sister, who are 9 years, 10 years older than me. They left school at year 10.
Yeah,
So not only did they have 2 more years of work, but they had 6 more years of work because they didn't go to university. So I
yeah,
think that 6 more years of earnings propels people into doing something with their money maybe a bit earlier. But on the flip side, I guess when you've got a university degree, you're earning more later in life, as your late 20s and your early 30s, do you know what I mean? So that whole first home buyer graph, I think you can also index off people getting a university degree. That's rapidly changed over 20, 30 years, certainly toward like when you look at my brother and sister.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, actually. The other thing I think is big is first home buyers are not limited on age. So you might know someone in your network, your family, or your friends, and they might be trying to buy their first property at 50. They're still not too late. You can still get your first property at any point. Pending you can get finance if it's needed with the bank. If they give you the go ahead, you're in. There's no limitation on the first home buyer incentives.
So before we go, you could always reach out to your local real estate agent and actually put the problem in their lap, and they will help you. Take the kids to some opens, meet a couple of agents that you like, and put the problem in their lap. You can ask the agent to come in and sit down with them and have a chat with your son or daughter, whatever your son and daughter's age is, and just say, look, we really want to make this happen. How do we do it? What are your tips? What have you seen? Rent vesting is super important. I think the biggest thing, and Luke said it really, really well, suggesting the rent vesting. But the biggest thing that I find with people is they want the perfect home, and you don't have to have the perfect home. You can actually just buy something, rent it out, and go and live wherever you're going to live. You can do that as a first home buyer. There's ways to get around it. And I think Luke also has mentioned it's instant gratification, a bit like social media. You're looking for that instant gratification, and property isn't instant, so it's much more long term, and it's against the thinking of the way that our generations are going with that instant gratification. Luke is a great buyer's agent, does stuff in Queensland as well. Everyone feel free to employ a buyer's agent for some great advice as well. There's good things there. Anything else to say, Billy, before we go?
No, not at all. I think if you're tossing it up, it's a great idea. You should definitely speak with family, friends about it, and it's not that scary once it's all set up. It's just an initial phase.
You won't fail.
No, not at all. Really, really good. And if you can get something, you always say kind of get something under your nose. If you can get something local to you, buy what you know. It might be a little apartment. It might not be your dream home, but it's something, that will get you in the door, and you'll benefit from the growth. And then at that point, then you can use that to get into the next property.
I've always said you got to know 10,000 things about your suburb where you're going to buy. And generally, that's where you live, to know 10,000 things about your suburb. So I love buying under your nose for that reason, just because your tribe's there, your tradies are there, your agents are there, good streets, bad streets, 10,000 things about your suburb. I think it's important.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. It's a good place to start.
Boom. Have a great day. Hopefully, guys, you can forward this onto a friend that's a first-home buyer. Love you. See you. Bye.
Bye.